Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V, where we are intentional about connecting you with leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. It's Dr. V here, where our coaching program teaches nurses to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time. Our featured guest today is Jaden Doye. Jaden was not always a financial guru that he is today, growing up in a household just shy of the federal poverty line in Prince George's County, Maryland. He knew the importance of money management, but didn't have the tools to create the financial stability he so desperately craved. Graduating Townsend University with a BS in accounting and incurring a large amount of debt, as most people do. Jaden was determined to make a change. With a little hard work and a lot of sacrifice, Jaden became independent, gained professional growth as an accountant at a small CPA firm in Atlanta, and became a certified public accountant. Over the past 5 years, he's worked with clients in just about every industry, helping them not only to expand their financial portfolios, but to create plans that ensure financial stability, sustainability, and minimize taxability. As a CPA, Jaden's goal is to help entrepreneurs like himself gain independence, eliminate debt, and create unique action plan to bring more to their bottom line while paying less in taxes. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So now you grew up in a house that was just shy of the poverty line. Did you consider yourself poor growing up?
I felt like it. I really did. I felt like, oh, I hated having to go to pay less. I despised it with a passion, man. And just not having the I feel like having the ability to get whatever you want, right? Like now in my life, if I want a pair of red bottoms, I'm gonna buy a pair of red bottoms. I can do that, right? I mean, I just won't do it because it's like impulsive, but I can if I want to. But growing up, we just didn't have the option to just get things that we wanted due to restrictions of our finances. So growing up, that wasn't a good feeling. And I knew that that life wasn't for me. And I was destined to change in adulthood.
You know, I didn't consider myself poor either. Well, you considered yourself poor. I didn't consider myself. I didn't know I was poor. Like I thought that it was normal to go to the gas station, right, and put $2 worth of gas in the gas tank. I was like, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. I didn't think anything of it. And then, once I got to the point was I was okay with like I drive up to the gas tank and then I put the card in and I don't worry about, it rejecting it. Or I go to the grocery store and I don't worry about, because I done been to the grocery store once before, okay? And it rejected my old check. And I was like, okay, well, I'll come back. And of course, I didn't have any money, so I didn't show back up, right? And so, you have those times, but it's just interesting how we all view our childhood. So now, when you were growing up, did you know that you wanted to be a CPA? And if not, what were some of the reasons that you decided to go into the profession?
Growing up, like many other kids, my idea of what I wanted to do changed all the time, right?
Okay.
And so coming into, I would say, my junior year of high school, that's when I realized that the accounting field was for me. Now, I didn't know that I wanted to be a certified public accountant at the time because that I never met a certified public accountant. And I remember my senior year, I was in a work study program. And what we had to do was kind of like map out where we would be in maybe 5 years. And I had put, after doing some quick research, I had put bookkeeping clerk or payroll clerk. And the teacher was like, no, that's not good enough. I'm gonna need you to dream higher than that. And I'm like, oh well, they get paid $30,000. Like that sounds like good money to me.
In junior high school, of course.
Boy, was I wrong, right? And so even coming into college, honestly, I went back and forth with it. What did I want to do or not? And it was honestly, it was a little boring to me in college. I did have, the only reason why I stayed is because every year, here's the crazy thing. My I think it was my junior year. So accounting is a 5-year program because you have to
Hmm.
get 150 credits.
Hmm.
And I actually had cancer while in college. So I had to take a semester off.
Hmm.
Mind you, I'm the type of person who's super active. I'm in SGA, I'm in student groups and things of that nature.
Hmm.
And then for you to tell me that I have to take a semester off, I'm like, no, that's okay. I'm gonna go. I have a meeting tomorrow actually, so I need to go home. They're like, no, I don't think you understand. You're gonna have to go through chemotherapy. And I was like, is that something I can just kind of like come back and do? Because, I have classes and I've been missing a couple weeks and, I need to catch up. But I just didn't take it as serious, right? But I had to take a semester off. I had to slow my little butt down. But, and when I came back with a whole new attitude. Like I came back feeling like this was my second chance. I literally could have died. Okay. And so clearly I would be a fool to not do something with my life and not be serious. And so even in those times in which I felt like maybe this major wasn't for me, I felt like God strategically always put one teacher there out of 5 or 6 that was purposefully there to speak life into me, like every year. And I'm just like, I can't give this up. And so I stuck with it. I'm so glad I did. And then going into the fields, I'm still fighting becoming a certified public accountant, right? I'm like, I don't want to do that. It sounds like too much work. It sounds like it's too hard. And then the firm that I worked at, I'm telling you, it's so crazy how God works. The owner, for some odd reason, he just kept pushing so much pressure on me to become a certified public accountant. And I'm just like, this isn't fair. Like, he's not putting all this pressure on everybody else. And I realized it was because he saw something in me, he saw my potential. And the day that I quit and let him know I was going to start my own firm, he said, I knew it. I knew it would happen. I knew this would happen eventually because I just knew your spirit. You just have an entrepreneurial spirit, so I'm not surprised.
I love that.
So yeah.
I love that, he saw it in you and he pushed you. Because a lot of times what happens is we just kind of stay like where we're at, right? We just kind of stay where we're at because, we can't see it in ourselves, but when someone else sees it in us and someone else pushes us, because literally, like when my coaching program, that's one of the things I see it and I'm like, this is the way that you should go. This is what you should do, and it literally changes the game. So I love, love, love that. So now you go into school to get your accounting degree, okay? And you graduate with a large amount of debt. So how did that happen? You tell me.
Well, I thought I was being grown, right? And I didn't want to live on campus because, being bougie from birth, I was just like, this is beneath me. I need to live in an apartment, darling. So, we're just going to take out the maximum. And I need a car, and not just any car, darling. I need a brand new Chevy Sonic, okay? A $20,000 car. So I'm taking out all these loans so I can live this life that I really don't need to be living. Because I just told myself, look, I'm gonna make the money back, so I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. And yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
So now, what are some of the things that you would tell a college student today to decrease the amount of debt?
Okay, so literally, I would have to break it down like this. Applying for scholarships and grants, look at that as literally a full-time job. You need to commit
Ah,
anywhere from 20 to 32 hours a week applying for that. because otherwise, what you're gonna do is take out loans, right?
Uh-huh.
And the amount of time that you're gonna take in order to, because if you take out the loans, then that means you got to work in order to make the money to pay back the loans. So
Hmm.
you're going to end up spending more time and money paying back the loans than you would if you looked at applying for grants and scholarships like a full-time job.
I
So
love
go
it.
ahead and get the work out the way right now. You're supposed to be broke during college. That's normal. Okay, you're not supposed to be balling. What you're supposed to do is get your experience, okay? Get as much experience as you can so that when you graduate, it's a smooth transition into the job field. See, this new generation of accountants, they lazy. They graduate with one internship, talking about they want to get paid $65,000.
So how many internships did you graduate with?
Oh man, I have worked at least three.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So that I
And I
can have
wish
a
I wish I would have done more, honestly. I was spending too much time trying to be grown and work a full-time job. But what I should have been doing was working for free and getting that experience. Because then what had happened was when I graduated, I wouldn't have had to start from the bottom. See, after I graduated, I pretty much had to start at the bottom of public accounting because I had experience, don't get me wrong, but I didn't have the experience that they were looking for.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. One of the things that, and I tell people all the time that my mom, when I started to go to school, because I wanted to be an engineer and I wanted to go to North Carolina State University. And my mom said, well, we don't have enough money to send you to a university. We're going to send you to a community college. And I said, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so she said, well, I think that you should become a nurse. And that's how I became a nurse. And it has served me well. But she had the forethought, and I'm thankful because my mom didn't graduate from high school. My mom only went to the ninth grade. My dad only went to the sixth grade, right? Neither one of them graduated. And, I'm glad that she had the forethought. Like she never went to college, yet she had the forethought to know that if she gets in this amount of debt, it's going to be really, really hard for her to come out of that. So I'm super excited that she had that. And I just had no idea, none whatsoever, because I was not smart at that time. So what were some of the things that you did to get out of debt? And what is some advice that you would give the audience to get out of student loan debt?
Well, that's amazing that you had that kind of mom because my parents were like, well, you're going to the military. I said, I think not. I did not become a morning person until I started my own business. But waking up at 6 o'clock and having somebody yell in my face and doing push-ups and go running miles, that was not ever going to be me. I tell you that. Okay, I was going to find a way to get out of that. All right, shoot, Lord forbid they pull me in a draft. We ain't gonna win no war. Let me tell you that. We not. I'm sneaking over to Africa real quick. Hopping on
You're
the
so
first flight.
crazy.
Um, but what I would say is, first of all, don't listen to people that don't have good financial health and wellness, because a lot of the debt that I incurred was due to my dad listening to the wrong person, my dad. And I'm honestly going to have to write a book about it. You know how there's a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Uh-huh.
Mine is going to be Broke Dad. Okay. The lessons I learned from the mistakes my father made. And I'm gonna say father because in Maryland, DMV, we say father, we don't say father. So yeah, don't listen to people like that. And literally, when I say they was not for me going to college, when I tell you they dropped me off, all the other parents after you unpack all of your stuff off the car or the truck, they help you actually move in and unpack, get your dorm and ready and stuff like that. So my roommate's mom was there, and we had got everything in the room, and then I went outside, and she's like, where are your parents? I said, that's a good question. Let me call them. And I called them, and literally they left. No goodbye, none of that. As soon as everything was off, they literally left. Deuces. I was like, what? Why would you leave? She was like, well, your dad's tired and he's gonna have to go to work tonight. So yeah, we left. I'm just like, wow. That really showed, way to support me. Great job.
So do you think that, so did they go to college themselves?
No, they didn't.
I think that they probably just didn't understand the importance of that support. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, and so sometimes you know what you don't know what you don't know, right? And
Hmm.
so, because I'm sure that I've done my child says that I have done a good job, but sometimes I wonder whether I've done a good job or not. Like you don't get it right sometimes, okay?
Yeah.
So now, what were some of your primary motivating factors in wanting to get out of debt?
Well, um, it's so crazy because before the pandemic, so early 2020, late 2019, it was a little rough for me being a business owner because what I do, literally none of my friends do. So oftentimes in life, I'm what do they call it? Traveling the road less traveled.
Hmm.
That is my life. So I'm literally having to research online and kind of figure things out and find my tribe, like by doing hard work, right?
Hmm.
And so it was just a constant battle with, do I stick with this business or do I get a job, right? And I stuck with it. I said, there's no reason why I should go back to work. I need to create a job for myself. The time that I could put into this other business, I could just I just need to really put into this business, working full time and growing this business. And so the fact that I needed kind of motivation, I started to read a lot of books, right? One of them was Think and Grow Rich, and it said, write on a whiteboard what you want, say it out loud every day. And I said, I want to become debt free and I want to be a millionaire by 30. And I want to make over six figures that in 2020. And I said it out loud every day. Now, at the beginning, I didn't, I'm like, this is cute. Affirmations. Ooh. But then I really started to believe it. I really started to live it. Like I'm gonna be a millionaire. I started to tell people on Zoom calls, I'm gonna be a millionaire. So that's why I work so hard. And based off of their reaction to that, if they were in support of that, cool. But if they were laughing at that, if they weren't with that, if they had that doubtful spirit, okay, well, it's time to cut them off, period. Because I'm in the fast lane, I'm in the whole lane. You become a millionaire. You driving too slow for me. I'm not slowing down for you. And so I know I have goals in life, like one to become a millionaire. And at the time, I wanted to own a commercial building. And in order to do that, the commercial realtor that I was speaking with said, you're going to have 10%. So if you want this $1 million business, this $1 million building, you're going to need $100,000 cash as a down payment. So that was kind of my motivation. And also wanting to, this apartment lifestyle, this is only going to last for so long. Like having neighbors, like people that like the upstairs neighbors are not a problem. It's really like walking in the building and it's just like, why y'all smoking in the hallway? Like, why don't you do that on your patio or your balcony? This is getting a little ghetto. Like what area am I in? Like I specifically moved to the north side for a reason. I've moved into this expensive apartment for a reason to avoid this, and here we are. So just with the goals in my life, I know that I needed to get rid of that debt, and I did that at 29. Paid off all the student loans, paid off the car loan. I just got aggressive. And I realized that, I don't want to be like a lot of people in Atlanta that are showing off just to, I don't know, like getting likes on Instagram doesn't fulfill me. Like getting followers doesn't fulfill me. Actually elevating and having success and seeing that credit score increase and being able to move in a manner in which I want to move, that fulfills me.
I love it. You're probably one of the funniest interviews I've probably had ever. And you said when you talked about, my husband is he wants to have 30 acres of land and live in the middle of it. Like that's what he wants to do because he's a bit of an introvert and I'm a bit of an extrovert, introvert with extrovert tendencies. And so, of course, I want to talk to people all the time, but it's like no, he's just like you. Like he's like I don't want people beside me. Okay. I'm good here. And so it's really, really important. I think, a lot of things that you said, when you had those affirmations that you have, because I remember and I didn't really like, I used to think that was just, that was woo woo, right? That affirmations. And then when I separated from my husband, I had these affirmations that I had all the time, right? And I had to stick them, being like Mary Jane, right? I had to stick them as little sticky notes all over everywhere, right? And I would say those things all the time, and it literally changed my life. And I honestly thought, and you don't know the power because in the Bible it talks about the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? And so you have to speak life into your life to get to where you need to be, right? And so it is super, super important that you do those things for sure. So now what are some of the things that you look for and questions to ask for business owners looking for a CPA?
Oh, that's a great question. So, not all CPAs are created equal. I'll say that.
Okay.
So, for instance, I don't do audits. That's not my thing at all. Okay. Some CPAs love to do audits, but they don't do tax. So it's very important to find out what exactly the CPA that you're looking to work with specializes in. Okay. Um, so for most business owners, what they actually need is a CPA that is going to help them grow their profits and help them pay less to the IRS. Okay. Now, most people think one way or the other, right? So some CPAs have a heavy financial background and they are all about systems and organizational charts, getting your money up, things of that nature. And then there's some people who are all about let's just expense everything so that we can get it down. And then you have people like myself that are a hybrid, a perfect in the middle, right? So depending on what your needs are in your business, that's going to determine where on that spectrum you the CPA is a good fit for you. So if you are looking to grow your business and you want to legally minimize your tax liability, then you need to find somebody that's in the middle. But let's just say, let's be honest, not everybody that has a business is very serious about their business. Sometimes it's really a hobby. So if that's the case, then maybe the CPA that will figure out how to expense everything is the best thing for you. I mean, I've heard people talk about my CPA writes off everything, my groceries, my clothes, and I'm just like, okay, all right, you need to stick with him, sis, because we don't do that over here at Prestige. Yeah,
Nobody.
no.
You'll get in some trouble like that.
Right. So asking them, what they specialize in is important. Asking them what their communication style is and how often they communicate with their clients. Some CPAs talk to you once a year. Some CPAs talk to you once a quarter, and some CPAs talk to you once a month. In my firm, we do, depending on which package they're in, we'll do either once a quarter or once a month. You also want to figure out what industries they specialize in. So not every CPA specializes in every industry. And any CPA that says that they work with every single industry, that is a red flag. Okay. You don't want, because if you're a jack of all trades, 9 times out of 10, you're a
You
master
have to
of
have
none.
none. That's right.
So I specifically focus in working with professional service providers. So doctors, therapists, nurses, lawyers, those are the type of people that I do. When I do my continuing education, I'm specifically looking for ways for me to learn how I can serve those industries better, right?
That's right.
And that is important. That is how a CPA really levels up, and that's how CPA really differentiates themselves from other people. It's really taking that step to do the continuing education to better themselves. So you want to even ask them about, what are their thoughts on continuing education? And if they look at it as like just a requirement and not something that they get excited about, then depending on where you are in business, that might not be the person for you. High performers love a challenge. High performers like myself, we love new information. Like when I was studying for the CPA exam and I was taking the practice exams and I would get a 70, I'm like, okay, let's do this again until we get at least a 90. We're going to keep doing it. It didn't discourage me. It only motivated me to keep going. And so if you're in a growing business and you want to grow and scale, that's the type of person that you want to work with.
That's right. The information, ET talked about it this morning when I was listening to him. Um, your education is what grows you. And if you're staying stagnant, it's typically because you're not being educated. It's typically because literally every day. You need to be very intentional, very, very intentional about making sure that somebody is pouring into you. I don't care if you go to YouTube University, as Danielle Bryan said at the beginning of the week. I don't care where you go. You need to be very clear that someone needs to be pouring into you on a daily basis. So now, tell me a story, because we're short on time. Tell me a story about how you have been able to save people money.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so for instance, an attorney came to me. Mind you, he was hesitant to work with me because he's already worked with 3 other accountants within the last 6 months. Okay, this is what happens when you don't work with somebody that specializes in your industry. So he works with me. I clean up his books, and we save him over $100,000 in taxes. And we did so because there was over $300,000 of income that was miscategorized because accounts receivable, the retainers, these amounts were not classified correctly. And what I did, now I went to school for accounting, not criminal justice, but when it comes to finding deductions, I'm a private investigator. Okay, I'm investing. I'm Inspector Gadget. I'm gonna find it. And so I make sure that I clean the books first because in the event of an audit, I want to have the numbers to support the tax return that I filed. And so in doing that, it was like he was in a rush to get this tax return done. And I had to show him this is why it's important for me to take my time so that I can do the work to find any type of issues and deductions for you. And then from there, he never rushed me ever again.
I love it. I love it. Now, tell us, where can the audience find you?
Oh, they can find me in a number of different places. The easiest thing to do is text CPA to 21000. You'll get my digital business card and you'll see where I am on various platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Usually Instagram. Most people connect with me on Instagram at the Great Jaden, but I'm on a variety of different platforms.
Love it. I love it. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You're super funny. We actually met on Clubhouse like last week. And we started talking, and I was like, let's just go ahead and get you a morning infusion, because a lot of nurses who are going into business, it's really, really hard to understand what to do. I mean, we're not CPAs, right? And it's just not our level of expertise. It's just not what we do. And so having someone to come in and teach us a little bit about how to, number one, find your CPA, and how to, number two, navigate that whole experience, because all of it can be daunting at times, but it is literally one step at a time. And being an entrepreneur as a nurse is the way to go these days in order to be able to fix the healthcare system, because we have to do it in a very unconventional way as opposed to the conventional way in which we have been doing it in the past. So we just finished our VP Nursing Business Academy 4-day masterclass. It was such a phenomenal event. You still have time to sign up for VP Nursing Business Academy. The last day is July 5th, 2021. We can jump on a call, and you're able to gain clarity to create multiple streams of income. You can sign up at vpnursing.com. I ask that you like and share this podcast. And I'm just super excited about connecting everyone with leaders such as Jaden that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You guys have a phenomenal rest of your day.